and proud daddy of a 3-month-old.
Yes, ma'am.
That is insane that you're even up and here and also play football for a living. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. So let's just talk with last Sunday. You guys, I'm sure, are all in good moods this week to finally get that one win off the board. So the storyline changes drastically from winless to, okay, let's see what we can figure out now, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody was counting us out. We knew what we had to do. We knew they weren't going to, be afraid of the product we were putting out there, because I think we were missing about 12 guys. So we all just honed in on the game plan and executed.
Now, from execution, Bill Belichick, every man doing their job, with your big contract, and I've listened to some of your comments, and they were different than some of the other Giants comments. They were more personal. Like, if I do my job at an elite level, I can change this. Now, it seems like when you touch down in Mile High, I'm not going to talk about the other 10 defenders. You had a different attitude when you went on the field. What got you into that frame of mind, and what were you looking at to try to revitalize the team?
Well, as much as I try to say that I'm not a leader, I know that I am. And I'm a guy who try to lead by example. I don't want to be that rah-rah guy, which I've been known to be. But I just knew that if I took, the lead and came out and did all I could do, I knew the rest of the guys would follow.
Can you guys, your season, it's weird to say emotional roller coaster because the first 5 games seemed like it was going in one direction. But week 3, I mean, you're playing a team that, you could be within 1 game of the lead of the division, and it's a tie game at the end, and they hit a 61-yard field goal. Oh, yeah. Week 4, you guys have a lead at the end of the game. They hit a field goal. Week 5, you guys, your best player on your team, at least in my eyes, breaks his leg, is understandably crying on the field. That was boom, boom, boom. How do you go from, in fact, let me ask you a different way. What was the emotional state of the locker room after week 5? We're 0-5. We think Odell's done for the year.
Really, to be completely honest with you, nobody was panicking. I mean, I know that sounds funny, but we have a great group of men of integrity in the locker room that no matter what, and which makes it all the more better is that guys been in this situation before. It's not like we have a group of rookies who never experienced it, and anytime you lose a guy like Odell or Brandon or Sterling and even Dwayne Harris, I mean, guys would panic, but now we have some veterans in there who brought everybody in and told them, look, we still have a job to do.
You mentioned you try not to be a rah-rah leader. Who are those guys? Who are those leaders in the locker room? Not necessarily rah-rah leaders, but who are those, when you say we have those veterans we lean on, who are those guys?
Well, first and foremost, Eli Manning, Jason Pierre-Paul, Jonathan Casillas, Jack Rabbit.
Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, and John Jerry, offensive lineman, and a young Landon Collins.
We came into this season, and a lot of us, and I'll say Nick had the Giants going to the Super Bowl, and a lot of people did. And one of the reasons was because the one thing I didn't think anyone was worried about was the defense. Well, they've got this really strong defense, so let's just go see what Odell can do. Let's just go see how he matches up with Eli. And then as the season went on, we started seeing some cracks in the defense a little bit. Tell me the biggest difference between that unit last year and the unit that you're putting on the field this year.
Well, I just think maybe the sense of urgency. Last year, we were out to prove, a point. And, I'm not taking anything away from anybody, what they did in the offseason. But anytime you have success, and, it's hard to follow that up the next year. And just knowing you can't just walk on the field and expect the same product that you put out last year to come out this year. So I think this past game was kind of an eye-opener for a lot of people. And, we saw what you guys saw last year on Sunday Night Football.
Now, people can say there's no carryover. NFL players, NFL coaches realize there's no carryover into the offseason. The thing that surprised me the most about the Giants, because last year they acquired most of that defense. It's not homegrown talent. So the overall chemistry, the way you guys gelled, the vibe y'all had, the swagger you had, game in and game out, especially at the end of the season. What surprised me, not that you got off to the slow start, what surprised me was Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie being upset, the locker room kind of being in turmoil without it being OBJ. What happened on the field that DRC decided to leave the field and ultimately led to him being suspended?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I have no idea. I can only tell you what I've heard, and that's that he wanted to stay in the game.
Yeah, he was being benched.
He was the ultimate competitor, and I don't think he was being benched. I just think that we have situational defenses. As you know, he plays the outside and the inside as well. So
yes.
He and Eli Apple, they kind of rotate, and I think he wanted to stay in the game, and the coaches felt that he needed to come out. So we didn't see any of it. We were on the field, so I didn't know what happened at all until after the game, and I got on Twitter and I saw, but no, we had no idea.
And then the next day, as far as the individual meeting, none of the other players took part in that, so you didn't know what transpired between him and the coach.
No, I just knew when I got there in the meeting. I think it was Tuesday. It was a Sunday night game, right? I think it was Tuesday when we got back in that, he wasn't in the meetings, and then he came into the meetings. He participated in some things, and then I talked to him before he left.
Just to piggyback off that a little bit, you play in New York. There are a lot of expectations. There's a lot of media attention. There's a lot of storylines that swirl around, good, bad, and otherwise. There's going to be far more media members in that locker room on Wednesday than there are in a lot of other teams in this country. So things that are small in your locker room are going to get blown out of proportion. We talk about it a lot. So when you have things like what CeCe was mentioning with Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie and with Odell Beckham Jr. and with, Mr. Mara having to talk to Odell and all the distractions, what has that been like for you in this? I mean, do you feel it? Is it something you guys feel in that locker room? Because as two people that haven't played, Nick and I don't always know what it's like in that locker room. CeCe constantly tells us, well, those are just noises and distractions, and we tune that out. It's hard for us to know. What's the first 5 weeks been like for you guys with everything that's been swirling around?
Well, you have some guys like myself who can tune it out. It don't bother me at all, to be honest with you. The only time it becomes a distraction is when that one guy from the media tapping you on the back, asking.
Let me hear it. What's the most annoying question, Snacks? Let me hear it.
Oh man, I wouldn't say annoying, but you get a lot of Odell questions. It's Coach McAdoo losing the locker room. Are you frustrated with anybody? Who can you point the finger at? Who's to blame? Somebody has to be at fault for this 0-5 start. And it's hard to ignore those questions, but at the same time, you have to be open and honest.
And you know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what they're doing, Snacks.
Exactly.
They're trying to get you to say one thing, and then it's going to lead the back pages.
Well, with that said, has Coach McAdoo lost the locker room? What's going on with Odell Beckham? Who should we put? You have a really interesting personal story that I really want to get to. Let me just ask. I want to ask one Odell question because I know him a little bit. Cris knows him really well. You've played with him. What is Odell like as a teammate?
He's awesome. He babysitted my son this. I think it was this
the
past.
3-month-old?
The 3-month-old. He was about maybe a month old. And he babysitted him while my wife and I went out to a comedy show and had dinner. So, the most popular guy on planet Earth, took his Saturday, I think it was a Saturday, where he could have been doing anything and been anywhere. And he babysitted my son for free, by the way. For free. He didn't charge.
And that was
by the way, CeCe
at your
would
house,
charge.
not his house.
At his house.
Oh, wow.
Were those dogs there?
No. Stay away from those dogs.
Okay, all right. Odell's got some big,
some large,
big
man
dogs.
Exactly.
So he. Now I have to deep dive into this. Was that his? Were you like on the phone on Craigslist trying to find a babysitter? And Odell's like, I got it, or he came to you was like, want to babysit the kid?
Well, my wife knows one of his friends, and she was the one that was going to babysit for us. So I had no idea that we were going there. So when we pulled up, I was like, this house looked familiar. Then I saw his car.
Are we giving
I'm
our
like,
kid too?
it's no way. So then he opens the door. He has on an apron, and he has a spatula and a fork in one hand. He said, I'm ready to go.
Oh, my God. It's a baby, not a chicken.
Oh, I was ready to run and get out of there. But I told some media members in the offseason that if I had to let anyone babysit, it would be Odell. And that was funny that it actually came
No,
true.
why him?
Because he's trustworthy. I can trust him with anything. And
now, how is that trust developed? Because if you would think of, now I know Odell. You're his teammate. What has he done? Because you got a lot of great guys in that locker room. You would think the kid with the yellow hair is not watching my baby.
Yeah. Maybe catching him like
this
if
is the only son you have. You
Well,
said,
you know
okay,
he's not gonna call up the
if the building's on fire and I got to throw my son out, OBJ, I want you down there.
Well, that's just time. I actually sit across from him in the locker room, so we talk a whole lot. Knowing how he's a Louisiana guy, so meeting his mom, you know, his dad and everybody, and knowing his background and how he was raised, and actually having conversations with him that had nothing to do with football, and just to know his mindset and how focused he is, and you know, the fame hasn't gotten to him. So I pride myself on being able to read a person, and I think I've done a pretty good job, and he's somebody I trust with my son.
That's awesome.
We'd be remiss if we didn't ask, because everyone does ask, but I need to know for myself where you got your nickname from, because I'm sure I've got most of my friends are like, I love his nickname. Snacks.
Yeah.
Give me the rundown.
Carl Dunbar and Rex Ryan.
Oh, yeah, I know Carl. Great defensive line coach.
He taught me everything I know. Rice Krispie treats were plentiful in the locker room.
Yes,
and,
they have a bowl
football
of
food.
Yeah, the Jets facility. So they told me every time they saw me, I had something to eat in my hand. So, you know, thus the nickname Snacks.
Can I tell me if I have this right? You didn't play football till your senior year of high school? Okay. You went to a school called William Penn?
The William
Penn. Apologize.
Yeah.
The Ohio State.
And that's all they do is produce.
The William Penn. I assume that's, you know, that means you didn't have an offer from Alabama or LSU.
I didn't have one football scholarship offer.
Okay. So how's this happen?
How are you sitting here?
You're undrafted.
Yeah.
So how does this happen, man?
My mother. I watched her it sounds cliche, you hear it a lot, but I watched her every single day of my life, work 2 and 3 jobs, and one thing she told me is to never take no for an answer. You know, if somebody's telling you no, that means you need to tell them, you know, I want to prove you wrong. But I tried out twice in middle school. I got cut both times. And I finally got a chance to talk to my middle school coach, and he told me he just didn't think that I was ready, and I didn't really want it enough. I just wanted to play because my friends were playing. But you know, those 2 no's I got in middle school helped shape me into the man I am today. Because
we talked to some guys, talked to my partner right here. First time he ever touched the football on a field that's now named after him, he scored a touchdown. He had a brother that was a pro athlete, like Cris Carter from 9 years old. People are like, this guy could be a pro athlete. That's not your story.
No.
When's the first time you thought, I might be able to be a pro? And when's the first time you realized, I might be able to be a great pro? So those are 2 different moments.
Well, I knew my sophomore year going in college, I said somebody was going to pay me to play football. I didn't know who, where, or what but somebody's going to be paying me to play football. So it wasn't until my senior year when the scouts started coming around that I realized I could be in the NFL. And it wasn't until my second year in the league.
I saw the piece you did with the Jets.
Yeah.
And one day the light came on, right?
Exactly. I told Carl Dunbar, like, I'm tired of playing scared. You know, this game is either going to be all good or all bad. And it was against the New York Giants at the time. And, you know, I never looked back since. And that game was all good, by the way.
Yeah.
There's a rumor going around, and I need you to bring some clarity to it. The rumor is that Snacks ate the 2016 Giants, all right? And they're gone, all right? We need to let the public know you didn't eat them. The Giants will be back, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, and you guys haven't mailed it in for the season.
No, sir, no. We have guys who are very prideful in that locker room. No matter if we're out of the playoffs, in the playoffs, or anything, we have a job to do on Sundays. We not only owe it to the fans, but we owe it to our families and ourselves to go out there and put a good product out there. And I'll be darned if I go out there and let a man whip on me because I'm not, you know, where I want to be.
Well, the Giants hosting the Seahawks this weekend. Wish you the best of luck. We'll also mention no one has ever come on the show with better shoes.
Let me see this. Come on now.
These
he got snacks. He got Louboutins on now. Big fella, got style, got class. You're a long way from home, boy.
Man, you're
Damon,
a long way.
what did you get into? The William Penn.
Let me get them.
Damon Harrison, thank you for joining us.
Man, give me them, man. You can't do nothing with them.
Coming up, should LeBron and the Cavs.
Man, let me get them.
I
can run some routes in these, man. Look at this.
First things first.
I got some Louboutins on, baby.
Out of control.
I'm rich. I'm rich. Look at me. Look at me, man. Look at that shit.
Dude,
I got
what is going on?
Red Bloods. I'm ready.
Oh, man.
Oh, they're 14.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from some of our other great shows on FS1.